we have an annuity problem, and basically it's a cash flow situation where an actuary is putting in money for the first 2 years, and in return, the project has anticipated returns beginning at the 2 year mark, and they increase 10% each year uh, until we get to 1/1/2017, which in our problem, we're going to call times 7 because we're going to call times 0 the initial investment, which was on 1/1/2010. Okay, so if I make this nice little table, um, we have all the dates, we have all the time. It says the actuary makes a business venture. They plan to invest 80,000 immediately. Okay, so cash out, I'm going to put 80. The units are in thousands, and 60 on 1/1/2011. So there's a 60 outflow in the next year, and the rest are all inflows. And I used a calculator to simply figure out, because it says they increase by 10% each year. So I just figured out all the cash flows. Um, so populating this table is pretty easy. Okay, so here's the hard part, is making sense of both IRR in terms of what it actually is and then how to compute it. So what is IRR? Well, it's a mathematical concept to describe how money in the problem were to operate such that if you were to account for all of it, the cash in would equal the cash out. So that doesn't mean the cash equals cash out directly. What it means is when you start taking into account things like interest, growth rate, it's basically like accounting. The money all makes sense. Okay, so it should be the case that whatever the underlying interest rate guiding all the money, it should be the case that the net present value, NPV, should equal 0. Okay, so that's the theory. Now, how do I actually find this R? Well, it's pretty easy. So let's go over to, I'm going to share screen, and we're going to go to my BA2 plus calculator. Okay, so here we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit CF, and it says CF0. So that's the cash flow at times 0. Well, we're putting money into it. So it's actually going to be 80,000, but we're omitting the thousands, minus, because it's an outflow, enter. Go to the next one down, C01. So now this 01 means time 1. Well, here we have another outflow of 60. So 60 minus, because it's an outflow, enter. Hit down, frequency is 1. Now a cash flow at time 2 is positive. Finally, we start getting anticipated returns. So here we get our first one of 25. Enter. Hit down twice. Time 3 cash flow is 27.5. Enter. Down, down. The next one is 30.25. Enter. Then 33.28. Enter. Then 36.6. Enter. Then 40.26. Enter. Okay, so we have everything plugged in. And a good way to check that we're doing it right, if I hit this NPV, just check this out, and scroll through it, you can see that the NPV is set to 0. That's correct, because it means the cash inflow and outflow are equal when you account for interest and growth. Okay, so all I have to do, hit IRR, compute, and you get 7.836%. So there we go. So if I go onto my whiteboard, and I just figured out the answer. So let me go back to my whiteboard. Okay. And here we go. We get pretty simply R 7.836%. And there we go.